within. I have withdrawn myself inside. And I am in touch with my eternal, original form. Deep within myself is the awareness of serenity. When I am with myself, as I truly am, when I allow God to be with me, then I am serene. And so I carry myself into that atmosphere of the presence of the Supreme. I cast my mind outwards and upwards, and I make contact with the point of light of my Supreme Mother and Father. And in that contact there is security. I do not need to be concerned about my image. I do not need to do anything. It is enough simply to be. The fears and the loneliness, the doubts, all of these come from body consciousness. But when I let go of that peacelessness, when I let myself be myself, and when I let the Father come into the room of my mind, then there is the eternal companionship. This one is the ever-present guide. I can keep this one with me all the time. And when this one is occupying my mind, then no negative thought can come in. But I become strong in my own self. I can have faith in my own self. This is the true teacher who has taught me that all things are as they should be, and I have complete ability to respond to all things in the right way. That is in the way that shows me the meaningfulness of each event. If I choose, I can keep all events on the outside. I can keep my own peace and my own connection with me on the inside. I discriminate and I choose which things I will take in and which things I will keep out. The Supreme Teacher has taught me not to give sorrow, but also not to take sorrow. The Supreme One teaches me detachment. As much as I can let each event flow by, as much as I am detached from each event and not fighting any event, nor any action of any person, as much as I keep my energy turned within, that much I continue to experience the love of the Supreme. And for me, life becomes easy. I acquire the wisdom. Life is significant. Everything is good. Om Shanti.
Om Shanti, welcome. So, Om Shanti, everybody. So, I've been studying lately a lot about emotions. So, I learned a lot of new things actually, which has made a big difference. Something like learning about the light body and its significance and how it is the light body. So, because every year, you're learning new things. So, I like to anyway. I'm not just happy just listening to the Murali or whatever. I like to do a bit of study and just find out new things. And I remember over 40 years ago when I went to Metabana, it was like you're intoxicated and you're running around. But I had such intoxication that at last I found something, I could give my time, money, and energy to. So with great satisfaction. So it's not that I didn't have anything before that, but it was like I was in the spiritualist church and all those things, learning healing and all these things, and school of philosophy and with all the few different gurus, but there's nothing there that matched Baba's path. Baba has a path. When we come on this path, learn about the soul and how it works and how it operates through the body and laws of cause and effect and where God is and how to attain God and things like that. But it's for me, I want to know a few more things than that. So, we've had that interest. So it's very good to go deep into the knowledge. Baba always inspires us to study and to experiment. So you can have a lot of fun, So that I think what happens is a lot of people are not aware that when you listen to the Murali, I was just saying on Sunday, a lot of people sometimes fall asleep in the Murali. Baba goes into so much knowledge, especially on the Sunday Murali, point after point after point, like the Sakar Murlis are very simple, it's just like going to kindergarten, but in there is also a lot of very powerful points. But on a Sunday Murali, it's just a power of points, it just keeps going. Like last Sunday, it was just, or every Sunday, it's like that. And I was listening to that. I would have studied those Murlis. I would have studied every Murli of those at least 5 or 6 times that it was spoken, and then again after that. But it's like it's brand new and fresh. It shows you how much we change. And those Murlis become like a download, like sometimes people will get a download of knowledge. It's like being a trance medium type thing, but I've seen people there just come along to the Murli and just keep doing, and it's like Bubba's purifying that soul for them. Even though they might not understand much in the beginning, it sort of purifies the soul. So it's just like getting rid of all that junkyard that's in there that over many, many births. So, and you just seem to progress slowly, slowly, slowly. But it's quite amazing, actually. It's not actually that slow. Excuse me. And but it's really beautiful to watch, and you can see like many, many people, myself, if you look back, even in the last 6 months, if you've been with Bubba and you've been listening to Murlis and just living in life, you look back and say, how was I, 6 months ago, and how am I today? So I always do that all the way through my Brahman life. I go back and say, how was I a year ago or 6 months ago? And I like to always see that I'm sort of progressing and learning. And it's a good key, and it's quite amazing, actually. You'll be quite amazed, actually, how much you do move along. Even from the very first day of the course to the last day of the course, if you're doing the course, then it's just like a huge transformation, and so much to download into my soul, So, but the thing is that Baba teaches us, don't worry about anything, just remember me. So that's the key to everything, but not to worry, because all that knowledge will come to you. It's there, even though we hear them early every morning, we don't remember every point. Sometimes we even be asleep. But the whole thing you're listening to it on a different level. And the funny thing is that people, as soon as the Murli's finished, they wake up. That's the amazing thing. So they were listening to it on a different level, so a different form of consciousness. And they still get the downloads. So some people are wide awake and take in all the points and write down the points. But it's not a matter of writing down all the points and studying them. The idea is we need to get away, because that's using your brain. So now we have to go more into the soul, into allowing the soul to come and to use that wisdom. And and the lucky thing is that, I did have a lot of luck in the sense of, in this birth, before coming to Gyan, I knew about trance mediums and clairvoyance and all those things. I practiced a lot of it myself. So I did those things, healing and all sorts of things. And I thought, I decided one day, that's it, I'm not going to do any more of this till I know what I'm doing, And and once when Daddy Kamaka came to Auckland, so I asked her, she says, you can ask me any question you like. She said, I'll sit in opposite her, the dining room in Rockfield Road. And I says, oh, what am I going to ask her? So I says, oh, what about my healing, She says, can I continue doing healing? She says, yes, that's a gift, so you can do that, she said, but as long as it doesn't pull your intellect, that's the main thing. So I said, oh, well, but I still did a little bit, but I learned a different type of healing. And I started learning the mental healing, like through first fixing myself up first. I didn't know I was fixing myself up, but I was. And that's the first thing you learn. And now I've learned about the light body, that we have an angelic body. So within this body is a light body. And that's what's moving. At this time, a lot of people in the world are changing from the old type of body, which was communications like the chakras, but it wasn't very efficient. So a lot of times you'd have an accident, and then about 2 weeks later you find out you got a sore foot, So communications wasn't any good. But with the new light body that's in that, every cell and every part of your body will know instantly about everything. So, and that's going through that process at the moment. So a lot of people don't realize sometimes you're a bit whack some days, and some days you're jumping out of your skin, the next day you're doing something else. But that's just a change, transforming from the old energy into this new energy. So that light body that that's coming in, that's based on our soul consciousness. So that if we think I'm doing everything as the human, then you're going to have a lot of headaches, because eventually the soul will move through that, so you're going to have to sit in the back seat at some time. So soul wants to start driving because it needs to take, like Bubba's come here to shift humanity from this old humanity into new humanity. So if we're still hanging on to the old stuff, then and I and my and doing everything and owning everything and wanting to please everybody and all these old ways, old energies, then we have to let go of all those things. You have to be completely devoid of all this other knowledge. Like we know if in the family, like Bubba said this morning, it's merely how to live in the family, and how to treat each other and see each other. But that's knowledge is given to certain people. Stream matter is so vast, but it's not for one stream map for some person is not the same stream map for another person, So like people in the army, I would just say, well, you just have to eat the food that's there, but give it drishti before you eat. But for people living at home, he said, no, you have to cook your own pure Satwick food, So it depends on everything. So he doesn't get us to do anything that we can't do because then you would be disobeying Baba and then it would become a negative, in a sense. So you'd feel bad about yourself. So a lot of confusion was taken away when I come to Baba because he has this path, you get up at Amravela and then you have Murli. Then of course you have to go to work, have breakfast, go to work and come back, and in the evening you'd go to classes or take courses or cook, whatever you have to do. So there's like a beautiful plan laid out. If you live according to that plan, and we offer food to Baba when we cook it in the right consciousness and everything like that, then it's like the soul will progress very fast, without any effort. Well, that is the effort, isn't it? It's just letting go of that old world. That's the big thing. And everything that gives us sorrow, basically, you got to let go of that, and that's where the emotions come in that I was talking about tonight. So, in fact, if you have a thought about this, just try and see. First is emotions and thoughts come after. So every action is first created by an emotion. So you think if you just see a car going speeding past, you think, what's the emotion comes up first, isn't it? Before you even think, you think, wow, look at that, who's that idiot driving so fast, So then the mind starts thinking, and so it's always the emotions first. And over many lifetimes, for the last half a cycle, we've been gradually, steadily coming down and getting negative emotions, you see. And the things, and a negative in the sense we've had this experience. So the thing, there's no positive, no negative, whether it's with our experiences, which is taken into the soul, that's the light body, all your wisdom from all your experiences. But the emotions are things that like anger, greed, maybe even love or pain. Pain is an emotion as well. All these things are emotions. So, and that's what's been increasing until this time now that Baba's come. He's giving us some tips. So, and the wholesale answer is just remembering Baba means you have to become in the present time and remembering Baba. So you don't have to be anywhere to remember Baba. Be here. Be in the present. That's all. You can't be anywhere else. If you're going to be going somewhere beyond the sun, the moon, and the stars, and remember God somewhere else, then you ain't here, So you're nowhere. So, and that's why. And tonight at the end, I want to take you into an experience we've done before of experiencing consciousness, which is that part that we really need to experience. That's going deeper than the soul. So the soul is like the light. So that's where all our wisdom is stored in the soul. So, and as wisdom comes through into the light body. And now I found out we got another body to think about. And that's your emotional body. So we just got to understand about the emotional body is that it has all the emotions, and it's the same. The soul will wisdomize all your emotions. So there's no good, bad, or ugly ones. There's just experiencing emotions. And it's the emotions that's discovered love. We didn't know about love until the emotions discovered it in its worst state, we might have been maybe 500 or 600 years, they didn't care too much about love, they just had feelings for one another. But then emotions got more and more into depth, and then as the love spread for each other, then that was different. World became different, and now we're going away from that dependency of love back to the soul, and we become independent. So you become that new 2.0 love. You become dependent on no one but yourself. So you're not dependent on anyone to make you happy, and that's why a lot of emotions will disappear. Happiness, there was no need for happiness. You don't need happiness, is it? If you have everything, you have to go around, you don't need the emotion of happiness anymore. You'll be just in joy or living in whatever it is, that state. But there'll be a lot of our emotions will disappear. So we might have 200 or 300 or 400 different emotions, but how many do we actually need? So we've created all those over the last 2,500 years or even longer, coming down this ladder, and it's an experience. So, but all that's going to be wisdomized. And that's what happens, is people fear, like fear is an emotion, of course, but you have to walk into all your emotions, whether good, bad, or ugly, in the sense. If you fear in that sense, then you have to walk through the fear, because it's nothing, it's just energy. It's my own creation. It's my children. So I've created all those. So we can experience the joy of those emotions. So, because all they want to do is to come home, to their mummy and daddy sort of thing. So, and that's all they are. And because we've kicked them out all the time, that we fear them. So, oh my God, there's this thing attacking me, but it's my own creation that's attacking myself. And because I've been listening and assuming, and we assume there's ghosts around and they're going to attack me and do all sorts of things, but there's nothing around in the night any more than there is in the day. It's not that the ghosts only come out at night or something, although people believe in that, you see. So that's just that assumption and belief system. And those things that fear, they change into entities and they take over us. Sometimes you'll see some people have split personalities and all sorts of things. And they can also the emotions can come into your joints, and they can give you a lot of pains and aches and all sorts of things. I've experienced everything, so it's okay. So the whole thing is, emotions are horrible, like you can have an emotion of anger, and that creates cancer. They've actually linked the two together. And you have the emotion of jealousy, for instance, a lot of heart problems, so all sorts of different emotions affects the body differently, so. And so we can just once you can understand those things, you just absorb them back in. It's just like facing the dragon. So the dragon is there and everything comes out. The dragon's chasing everything out of the dark corners, and you have to say, oh my God, look at that. But then you just need to look at it and say, oh, you walk right through them. Even if it's got big, ugly things going to eat you up, you just walk right into it, it'll just disappear, so, because it's just energy. So. And energy serves us. See, energy, I am energy. See, my consciousness is sending energy to the soul, and the soul gives imagination and it's creating. So, and the light body is fed by the soul, so that's just the wisdom of my soul. But the body cannot communicate with the soul. That's where we had that blockage before. We couldn't relate to the soul till we realize what the soul is. It's my eternal God self, and we can experience when we go into the real darkness, into the really dark, dark place of the soul, which is no light, nothing. That's where you find your God, that's where God is. It's consciousness. You'll think, oh, I'm still existing, I'm still here. I can't see myself, I can't see anything, but I know I exist, so that's what consciousness is. Soul is different. Soul is light, that's where all the wisdom and everything, knowledge and everything is there. My sanskaras, my habits, everything are there. So, but when I go into the depth of my consciousness, into the depth of my soul, into consciousness, then it's like, then you can really experience your true self. And there's not that there's a great power or anything there, because it's like Bubba said today, or the other day, he says, I don't have a body. I don't have a light body. I don't have a subtle body. I'm just energy. He's just consciousness. He said that. He says, I don't go around reading people's minds or thoughts or anything. He says, imagine he was going around reading everyone's thoughts. He'd have a real headache, wouldn't he, if he had a head? But he doesn't even have a head or a brain, But he uses Brahma Baba, and Brahma Baba's become equal to Shiv Baba. So it's like Baba's in that sense. We just say Baba. And when we have that connection with Baba, so it's like when we serve the yagya, like the yagya means our organization. So it means like a big fire. They chuck all the seeds and get rid of all the rubbish, basically. We're giving all our rubbish to the yagya. So, and that's why Baba said, give me your everything, so that there's nothing left that's going to harm, because you can't take it with you. That's the thing. If you're hanging on to a few bob, whatever it is, whatever you want to keep, you think, oh, I just might need that. So I might need to get angry at someone to make them do something, but you don't need anything. So, and now nothing matters, so the idea is just to gradually let go of everything, so, and you'll be free, and you'll find that everything comes to you. Once you can let everything go, you never have a worry again anymore, because everything you need comes to you. It's the universal law in that sense, if there's a universal law, and it just comes to you. And that's what we do. We don't have to make any efforts. So I've been on the spiritual journey for so many lifetimes. I've been on this main highway driving every day, stopping off into some hotel, getting up in the morning and driving. We say, where are you going? Oh, I don't know, but when I get there, I'll be glad. So, but the funny thing is, we're in the right place, the perfect place at the right time, So all that stuff that we didn't know what we were doing, but we've made it, and it's like we didn't have to, we were just doing the effort of just driving and just trying to get on this main road and just keep on driving, whatever it was. And eventually we got so sick of it in the end, we thought, that's it, this is my last day driving, and I'm not going to drive anymore. And then bang, that's once you've released yourself from that journey or that effort making, that's when everything works. The soul can say, oh, at last I can start doing some work, so it can start to take over, because that person's saying, oh, I've had enough, that's it, no more. And then once they even choose again, once they start to feel that the soul's in, then they might choose to live. And then the soul goes, wow, this is it. I can actually start to enjoy myself in this new body, in this body. And it chooses to live. So it chooses life, and it breathes in life and energy. So we have to understand what we're doing here is to enjoy yourself, So it's not running around murdering people, because that's not very enjoyable for me anyway. So, but we know that's why we have wisdomized all our experiences. That's why the soul does. So you wouldn't be making those mistakes, doing stupid things. Now you become very royal, you'll be living in grace, so that you become that divine being. And that's what we have to be before we get to that world of divine beings. You're not going to make effort when you get there. It's too late. So you'll just take birth according to your samskaras. But at least now, Baba said, Baba's real concern is like every Indian family is concerned about the status of their children, what they can attain studying, isn't it? So, and that's the same for Baba. Baba said, you study my knowledge and you can attain and become master of the world, which is the world yourself. You rule yourself, then you can rule when you get to the new life, So, but you have to learn to rule in this life. So, in other words, you do what you want, it doesn't, I mean, you can't eat an ice cream or something like that. You just want to enjoy it, go and have a coffee and put your feet up and just relax, and allow yourself to be happy. So just imagine if everyone was at home, and it only takes one person to be in a really foul mood, destroys the whole house, the vibration of that whole house. You think it would work the other way around, one person in a bad mood, then the other people living in there should be able to transform that person, but sometimes it doesn't happen that way. But we're the people of the world, we're so few, but we have to transform everyone in the world, this world, every cell in this world, every single part of this world will be transformed by just a few, But you don't need many. That's why you use and do everything in consciousness of light and love, by loving yourself. If you're in love with yourself and doing everything, whatever you're doing, it will be so beautiful, you know. Whether you might be interested in becoming painting, or suddenly you become interested in some, you know, craft or whatever, you know, you'll start to want to use your hands and learn to love life. You know, maybe you want to take photographs of birds and bees and flowers and trees, whatever's creative. Play the guitar or something. That's good, because that's what life's here for. We're actually here to not to become, you know, like, you're not going to be living here as a deity, because this is not the world of deities. So that's what Baba creating us. We're coming to that stage that we are a deity, but in an impure body still with it. But that's what's changing at the moment, is all the cells of your body are changing. So that's why a lot of confusion's going on at the moment, and you'll see how the people of the world start reacting. You know, they don't want any more wars. You know, they had enough wars. You know, so many people being killed for no reason, and who's going to pay for that? You know, who's going to pay to build our country again? You know, someone's going to make a lot of money. You know, but people are just going to get so sick of it, and that's why it's for. It's got to reach a bad state when it's in its really horrible state. But at the same time, human beings' consciousnesses are going up. So it's like opposite, isn't it? So once there's enough human beings have distaste for the way this world has been run, then it's going to change big time. Because you see all the young people, like the generations, you know, that are in their 20s or late 20s and early, you know, up to their 30s are out there. They're very strong, and they've got very strong in their ideas, and they're the ones that's going to take over, you know, learn how to, and will rule the new world. So, but we're only here just to keep the foundation full of light and love, you know. We don't have to do anything else. That's it. And nature will look after us, matter will look after us, we'll be well looked after. So, but if you think you have to save the world, well, good luck to you, because no one's going to do that. That's not our job. We've got a job. Our pay grade is here, you know, the foundation members, like Baba said the other day, we're the old ancestor souls, the most important souls there are. Because without the foundation, even to your own life, you know, then you think the foundation. And I was thinking the foundation to my spiritual life, you know, is just breathing, basically, you know, living this world. And whatever life I had, that's whatever I made of it, you know. So it's all an experience. Had a lot of fun. And so, you know, but that's how it was. It was a life of hard work, but that's what was expected in those days. So didn't have any I think the dole, all that stuff didn't come into, I was about 23 or 24 or something. And if people were on the dole, they had it really bad. People looked at them very badly, you know. People were scared to go on the dole because you have a bad, you know, drishti upon you, you know. So people didn't like that. But nowadays, and it's not the people's fault. It's what's been created, and it's no one's fault. It's just how it is, you know. You don't blame anybody for anything. So you can see 3 or 4 generations living on the benefits, you know. And people live their lives and die, and the next one comes along and does the same, you know. It's just that's been created by the you know, the goodness of others have created that. So in case anyone got into trouble, they can be looked after, you know. And then people were brought to this country and used like slaves, and then we have to look after them, isn't it? So same thing. And we eventually after 3 or 4 generations, some of their children become doctors and look after us, you know. So maybe it'll come around, you know. So that's how it works. First, you have to support, you know, those who need support. That's what I like about this country and same Australia, probably maybe Canada, maybe the similar sort of age, sort of. In America, probably they were pretty good. Used to be anyway. You go there and you see shots of people just living in the streets like anything. My God, they said there's just needles everywhere. It's worse than any other place in the world. They said there's no place like it. So horrible. But anyway, they spend more money on war. They said, and the money they spent on the war, you know, and Ukraine, they could have built everyone on the streets a new home. see how stupid that is, So, but there again, it's like, that's just how life is, isn't it? So they choose to live like that because they can't afford other things, or there must be some reasons, but it's their experience, So, and the same with us and our experience in our life, isn't it? So you can look at your life and say, what do I need to do? Is there anything else I want to experience whilst in this life? So because we don't know when we're going to move on to the next body, but you get a pretty good idea if you're enjoying your life and you're living a good life and you don't have any reason to die, because you've still got a few more things to learn if you want, and you can enjoy your family and you choose. People don't realize you choose your death. It's not just they say, oh, it's karma, this time you're going to die, but not necessarily. You choose when you want to die. So if you want to live, or you want to live in hell, or you want to live in heaven, we can choose. And it's all about judging people and listening to gossip and things like that. That's what's living in hell is, it takes away all your happiness. You can watch YouTube and all these people saying all sorts of things, but it never ever happened. These people that say these things, my God. I remember when it first started, I used to listen to them. I thought, my God, that's amazing. They're going to do this and that, but not a single thing ever happened. So it's just a game. And they said that the people that have those things, their brains actually get altered because they've done some scans on some people that have given up, and they say, yeah, your brains do alter, when you get altered by all that gossip. What do they call that again? The people that say all those things. I'll forget them. Anyway, it doesn't matter. But anyway, so that's what's going on in the world. So, but people are waking up. That's the main thing, and we have to wake up, but wake up in the right way that we don't have to worry about anybody else. It's got no concern of us except we can. What we do here, we help Bubba in establishing the new world through whatever way we can. So some others can do some cooking, and they can't do any help. Some do cleaning, and some do financial. It's all sorts of things. So it's all together. You don't have. You do what you can. That's all. You're creating your fortune, and that's all Ava did. I mean, I was just so happy to do something. I just wanted to do something. I had so much energy, but I needed to put it in the right way, the right place. So, and that allowed me to do it. And I've gone into all my astrology and my numerology charts and over the time, and I've been doing exactly what I was supposed was the best for me. That's the amazing thing. And the things they said in astrology, watch out for this and that, and sure enough, that's exactly right. It was too. It's quite amazing, when they can do all those things. It's pretty cool. But in the end, like now, you don't need to worry about astrology, numerology, or anything because you are the master now of your soul. You choose for yourself where you want to go, what you want to do. You don't need to read any more books. Study's finished. Even though we hear them early every day, but that's like it's like food for the weeds in my head, so you're feeding it. So just keeps you refreshed, keeps you refreshed and enjoying life. So it's good to enjoy life, not to be sick of life, because if you're sick of yourself, then you're going to be sick of many things. So that's why the first step, Bubba always says all the time, always self-transformation first, always about yourself first. Remember yourself, do everything for yourself, and you can't do anything for anyone else. So they can see you and they might think, oh, that's pretty cool. You're pretty happy. I wouldn't mind doing what you're doing to keep you're so happy and you're looking great. And then that's until they ask. And if we try telling them, they run the other way. They'll have both fingers in their ears and take off. So as I was saying that on Sunday, I was saying we had so many programs that, all here, there, and everywhere. We have big programs out in universities, all the different groups were there. We had all these handouts for people. And you go around later, they're all in the bin, you think, what's the point, So they handed them out for people to read. It's the same, all organisations are the same. People just have a look and just bin, I might do this. Someone might keep one, but we hardly ever got anyone from those places. So, but you're just seeing, that's all. So you've been exposed, that's all we're doing, exposing lovers. We were in Mount Eden in those days. It was like we used to get so many courses. It was amazing because it's quite central, Mount Eden is quite close from the North Shore, even for people to come across. It wasn't too far, north, south, east, and west, but North Shore here is a bit further for people to come. It's so like they think twice before coming in, or even 3 times. Yeah. Yeah, getting across that bridge is a big deal, especially if there's a bit of traffic around. And but all that, if I go north, I always go the back way, which is and around the other way through west, west to north, northwest. And there, I like Auckland. It's got some great motorways and good travelling. And beautiful parks everywhere you go. If you go that back way, it's like going through the middle of nowhere. It's like beautiful bush and ocean, and it's really nice, beautiful. So it's all about wisdom at this time. So learning, so that's about the soul wisdomizing our experiences over all our births. So they, instead of becoming negative, say, oh, my samskaras are so bad, but now you allow your soul to wisdomize all your experiences. Not every single one. It just picks the main ones, that there, and you'll become wise with whatever you're doing. And the emotions, now you have an emotional body, like the light body. And now that emotion, the soul is doing the same for the emotions. It'll wisdomize the main emotions, and that will also be working for you. So, but you just have to allow that to happen. That's the thing. You don't have to force anything. You can't make any extra efforts. All you got to do is put your feet up and relax and say, okay, I allow my emotional body to become part of me now. So as an embodied master. So you got a master, two masters. You're a master of light and a master emotion. So imagine how much wisdom you can have then, So when you allow that wisdom of both the light and the emotional body to come, and then it's your consciousness that wants to experience it. Once that becomes wisdomized, then it's like your consciousness or your God self can then experience through your human self, But until the soul is connected, to the light body, and then through the physical, then the consciousness can see a sunset, taste an ice cream, play a game of bowls, watch the cricket, whatever it wants to do, it'll have an experience. Everything's an experience, you see. So that's what happened to the consciousness when it woke up. It became aware. Who am I? And that's the first thing it thought. When it just think it's sitting there in itself, then it's realizing, hey, hang on a minute, I'm here. Who am I? What am I? So that's when awareness came. He says, I'm aware that I am. I exist. And then energy was formed. So energy serves consciousness. So consciousness, then the I am says, I want to know who I am, what I am. So then the soul was created, and then the soul had to work through something, through the imagination, which was light, and then the body was created, and we worked through the body, and after many, many lifetimes, then we have the soul wisdomizes all our experiences. So then we have a light body for the I am, says, oh, now I know what I am, So you need, like Bob was saying, he doesn't know anything until he enters the body, He needs a body to understand this drama. He never goes there in the golden age, he said. It doesn't enter his intellect to go there. So he said, I create the golden age now, but I never go there. So, and that's the wonderful point, isn't it? So when you think, that's the same for us, like our consciousness, our God self, eternal self that never becomes destroyed, it's also created. Same thing, it comes through this body to experience. Same like Shiv Baba come through Brahma Baba. So Brahma Baba was the body, that Shiv Baba came through and look and see and experience everything. This is my children. Oh, hello, and then same. My consciousness comes through this body when it's in the right consciousness, and then you can see, oh, this is the world I'm in. Wonderful. I've created this through my imagination, through the imagination of the soul. Soul is light. See, when you have imagination and you use light, then you create reality on this world, even though it's unreal in that sense. It's not real, but it's imagination. So. Okay, so I was just thinking we'll do one of those meditations where we can go into, remember we are taking through the house and you go into a dark room. So, and then you can experience yourself as being just who you are, nothing, consciousness. So what we can do, we practice so when we're in our consciousness. So you can imagine that there's this beautiful section. You've got a fence all the way around your section, and this is inside your imagination. So inside that is you're going to build a new home. You've got a new home, you've got a swimming pool, you've got everything you want. You got birds and bees, flowers and trees, anything you desire. But in this new house, which is us, our new selves. So when we go to this new place, we're going to go into this house, which we've created, which is our self. We'll go inside, we're going to see and discover our consciousness. Who am I? So that's, you'll see. So, okay, so you can just close your eyes if you want and just visualize that you're in this block of land, and around it's just very simple. Just there's a low fence all the way around your block of land, and on that section there's a house, just no flash house. You can just have an ordinary old house. You can have a 2-story house, but just very simple, because it doesn't have to be flash at the moment, because we are now establishing our new self, our real self. So you'll notice at the front door there's a porch. Now on that porch, you can just walk up the couple of steps and you're on the porch. And there's a doorway in front of you. And it actually doesn't have a door on it, but you can just walk in the doorway and you'll see it's a hallway all the way down in front of you. And it's got doors off to your right. So you're walking on down this hallway. So you go past the first door. Now you go and enter this, see the second door. And it's got written on the door, dark room. So you open that door and you go inside and you walk in there and you think, oh, there's nothing in this room. There's just no chairs. There's nothing. There's just the floor. So you just sit on the floor and there you can sit with your legs crossed because you don't have any aches and pains in here. So you can visualize yourself sitting in the middle of this floor. So you can shut the door behind you. Just walk in, shut the door behind you, then sit in the middle of this floor. Now, just visualize, take a nice deep breath in, just breathe in and breathe out so that you can relax. So breathe in. And as you're breathing in, you'll notice it's getting a little bit darker and darker in this room. So just keep breathing, breathe out, breathe in. Now it's getting quite dark. You can't even see where the doorway is now. So breathe in and breathe out. And now breathe in again. Now it's so dark. You can put your hand right in front of your eyes, but you can't even see your hand. So breathe in. And now it's absolutely black. You can't see a single thing. It's absolute darkness. So just take another nice deep breath in and just feel, I'm sitting in this room. I can't see anything. Everything is absolutely black. Breathe. It's only by me breathing that I know I'm here. Take a nice deep breath in and just feel, I exist. I am here. I can't see anything. Can't see a single thing. It's absolutely black, but I know I'm here. This is my consciousness, that I'm aware that I'm here. Take another deep breath in and realize I am here. I'm in this room. This room is dark, absolutely black. And yet I know I'm here. I can't see myself, but I'm here. I'm beyond my mind. I am just consciousness. I'm aware only of myself. As this energy of awareness, I can't see anything. I can only experience myself as being here. I'm aware that I'm here, but I can't see anything, but I'm here. So just allow the feeling of your consciousness to be that, yes, I am here. I am aware. Just keep breathing and just feel. Allow that feeling of I am here. I exist. I'm aware that I am here. Even though this room is completely black and I can't see a single thing, but I know I'm here. I exist here. I am consciousness. I have always existed. I have never not existed. I'm eternal. I can't be destroyed. I am always the same. Just keep breathing, realizing that I'm aware that I'm here. I exist. Now just take another nice deep breath and you'll notice that now we're ready for the room to gradually become light. Take another deep breath, the room starts to lighten up. And it gets lighter and lighter. And now the room is back to being light again. And you can see your human self sitting on the floor. Just breathe and just feel how peaceful you are. The mind wasn't able to do or say or wonder anything while I'm in there. While I was in that consciousness of my true self, my eternal self. That is what Bob was talking about when he gets to know yourself. When you remember Baba alone, if you can get to that consciousness, that's all that's there. You are alone. You are the God that you are looking for. So that's Baba said, you are master gods. And that's who Baba is. He's consciousness as well. So saying he's beyond the physical. And so are we in consciousness. So that's the dark room of your house. So you can come here and just sit anytime you want and to become free from anything external, because this takes you right to the very depth of your spiritual self, of the consciousness of I am, I exist. Okay. So how's that? Did you feel anything different?
Very silent.
Very silent. Yeah, it's very silent, isn't it? It's very deep. It's a beautiful state if you can be like, but if you go and if you create that house, excuse me, it takes you out of your mind, so that's the thing. And the thing is to get out of your head, so, and let the soul and the I am. We'll go to a few other different rooms along there. One, the soul room, remember and the wisdom, and one of the kitchen where you can put all your rubbish in the kitchen. Same with the soul room, is quite good like that. But so there's all different rooms we can have. Okay, so
we have a rainbow room, remember?
We have all sorts of rooms. Yeah, that's right. That's in the lounge. we'll go through all that again, actually, because that was a lot of people enjoyed that, actually. So we can practice that. So that's 1 year homework for this week. So not that we do homework, but anyway. Cool. Okay, then, great souls. That's it for today. And so next time we will go to another room. That one and another room. So it's quite nice. Okay, Om Shanti, everybody. I'll just turn off the